Hi, everybody. So what I've done in this planner is I've just gone through and written a sample one that I think will help everybody out a lot in terms of seeing the kinds of things that I'm looking for in this thesis outline planner. So I wanted to make just a quick video going over it. So basically what you want to do for the attention grabber and for the hook is come up with something that will pull the reader into your paper and make them think about what you have sort of chosen as a topic and just get them interested. So, some ideas would be a quote or maybe a hypothetical story or scenario. So, you could say, imagine your, that kind of thing. What I have here for my background and context is just a very brief introduction to the article that I'm going to cover. And the reason I do this is because my thesis statement comes right here. And my thesis statement, if you look at it, is really basically just a general summary of all of the things that I think about or what I think about the article after coming up with these different response points that I have in the body of my paper. So when we're looking at this thesis statement, you can see that it talks specifically about the article. So it would be kind of weird if I went straight from the hook here into this thesis statement. So I have this background context sentence that explains sort of it takes us from the topic to the article to my thesis, which sums up everything I think about the article. So that's kind of an explanation of why it goes like this. And you can follow that model. You could even, if you want to use this background context sentence, you can use that as a model and just change it to be your authors and your publication. And that would work totally fine in most cases. What I have here is my summary. I took this from the Unit 2 worksheet that I did. So I went through and I did my Unit 2 summative worksheet on that first article that you all found for your topic, for your specific topic. Excuse me. You will obviously not be doing this one. I just used this one as an example because I'd been working on it already from when we used it as an annotation in this sample in this course. But as I'm going through, I've got all of the necessary parts of a summary here, and I use the checklist to make sure that I've included everything I need, and there it is. So y'all will be pulling yours from that Unit 2 summative worksheet, and you will look at it, look at the feedback that I gave you on that worksheet, make any corrections that are necessary, follow what the template asks as sort of the important questions to look into, and then make sure that it's in good shape that way. The body of the paper. So if you look through all of these main points, there's 4 of them. There's my third one and my fourth one. If you look at them, they are all answers to questions from the questions to respond to. So I just picked 4 questions to respond to from the list that I included that's linked in the announcements, and I answered them, and these are my answers. And those are my topic sentences. And then you can see what I've done for examples, details, explanations. I've included explanations that I want to incorporate into my paragraph. I have included quotes that I think are important from my paragraph. And these are just kind of my reactions to this particular comment that I made here. So when you're looking at these things, you can see that I've got some sort of major points. When I go to actually turn this into the paragraph of my paper, I will probably, for each of these things that I say here, include a sentence or 2 more elaborating on my point of view. But these are just the main important things and support that I have for this idea that the article could have explained the position of people who didn't agree more thoroughly. This is my one negative about the article. The rest are positives. I've thought about that as I organized it, which is why I have this question down here that says, are you responding to these details positively or negatively? If you look, you can see negatively, but then I go into positively, and this one I explain why I think it's a positive. Down here I have positive. So that has helped me think about how I might want to arrange my paper. And because I mostly like this paper, I'm going to end with the positives and I'm going to get the negative out of the way first. So that's just something to consider about how you're organizing these things. And if you're not sure, I can always help you once I look at your copy of your own planner. Then for the question about how will you use your second source? I'll actually back up to the first thing. The question is, how will you use your second source in this paragraph? I answered, I'm not going to in this paragraph because I didn't think it related. But you can see in this second, excuse me, in this second main point, which is more about my own personal reflection on the topic, I do talk about it. Here, I talk about vaccination, the prevention of communicable diseases. So I'm going to use one of the articles that some of us actually read for the practice summary and paraphrases. And I mentioned here that this is the second source that I found. For y'all, it will be the second source that you found about your own topics. So we found the first one from the database, and then we had in the beginning of Unit 3, we had that source evaluation worksheet, and I told you could pick another, you need to pick a second source, and you could find it anywhere you wanted. That's what I'm talking about when I mention the second source. So in this case, I decided to choose this one, and you can see down here, since I am using it in this article, in this paragraph, I'm going to say I'm mentioning it my third point. And I pretty much explain how here. So that's all I need. The reason I include this is so that I have another outside source to kind of back me up. Because in this case, I'm actually explaining how this second source that I found is not exactly is actually sort of being proven wrong in some ways by my first source. So I'm just kind of using this as a chance to talk about these two different ideas and how they're interacting. You can read more in detail if you would like all of the different points about that I include for each single point. The basic gist is that for each of them, I have chosen a question from the list of questions. I've answered it, and then I have examples, details, explanations explaining why I believe what I believe in that first response. So you can look at those in more detail if you like. And in the conclusion, I just kind of wrap up how I feel about the article overall. And that's what I'd like y'all to do. So I think that this model will help and show you kind of what I'm looking for. It is a good idea to write in complete sentences because then you really have a basis. Honestly, because I included a couple examples for each of them, I would really have a great start for a paragraph for all of them. And all I would need to do when I go to write my paragraph is to take these sentences, to put them in order, to put them in paragraph format, and then add in minor details as needed and further explanation and elaboration as needed. So it's a good idea to write in these complete sentences. Yeah, so if you need a model to look at, here's what I'm looking for.